you don't want to run at all, don't run at all. Enjoy your time off, rest and relax, have a drink in your hand, sitting by the pool, sitting by the beach, out in the woods, whatever is going on with you. Episode 963 of Diiz Runs Radio is a quick tip episode, best of-ish edition. Today's quick tip, running on vacation when it's not a runcation. So today, like I said, taking a little trip back in time. This was going way back. Let's see, let me do my math here. Some 5 years ago to July of 2016, episode 289. So almost 700 episodes ago. It was the first time I talked about some tips and some things to keep in mind if you've got a vacation planned. And the focus of the vacation isn't necessarily related to running. Because at that time I was heading off to Michigan, but now I'm not. Now I'm staying at home at this point. But I know some folks. I mean, we still got a whole month of August, which is a pretty good vacation month. So maybe this hits you at the right time. If not, keep it in the back of your mind until whenever that next vacation might be for you. But when it comes to runners, I feel like a lot of us either we go on vacation to run all the miles, or we go on vacation to just kind of completely unplug and maybe not even run that much. But every once in a while, the worlds collide, I guess, in an unsavory fashion, where you might be somebody who wants to go on vacation and run all the miles, but it may or may not work out as well as planned because, maybe you're on vacation to go to the beach, to do the theme parks, go to Disney with your family, like whatever the case might be. Maybe running isn't the priority. So wherever you fall in that continuum, whether you're, as long as you're not at the end of I don't want to run at all. If you don't want to run at all, don't run at all. Enjoy your time off, rest and relax, have a drink in your hand, sitting by the pool, sitting by the beach, out in the woods, whatever is going on with you, and just relax and enjoy it. And when you get back to the real world, hey, get back to your running. No harm, no foul. But if you're looking to run, whether a lot, whether as much as you can, whatever the case might be, here are some things to keep in mind to help you get over some of the obstacles that I think are relatively overlooked when it comes to preparing for running while on vacation. And I forgot to mention this at the beginning, but in case you're new around here, when I do these best of-ish episodes, like I said, this was an episode from 5 years ago. The blog post, basically the same thing. The audio, this audio, completely different, although honestly, probably pretty similar, but you can go back and check it out if you're so inclined, episode 289. But here we go. 5 things, I think, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things to keep in mind to help you navigate some of those obstacles that can come up when you're running on vacation. First of all, this one is I feel like it applies to me the most with a possible TMI disclaimer there. But there's no quote-unquote home field advantage. And the home field advantage goes to a lot of places. As far as the bed, you're not having that your normal bed that at least for me, definitely sleep better on my bed than anywhere else, right? You don't have the same little random sounds at night. You don't have the same little probably routine of life. Just all of the things that are different when it comes to no home field advantage. Even, and again, maybe this is TMI, although as runners, is there anything that's TMI? I don't think so. But even the bathroom routine can be a little bit off. So, that home field advantage is a thing that I think, at least, for myself, I overlook it when I'm on vacation. Because, even if I'm running at the same times, everything else is just a little bit different. And you don't have that home field situation. So keep that in mind as far as maybe bathroom needs or sleep needs or, just the coffee not being as good. When we were at my sister's house earlier this year, love them, but they're the type that are like, we just need the cheapest coffee possible because the main focus of the coffee is drinking a bunch of creamer, which that doesn't work for me. Like, I want coffee that's good because I want to actually taste my coffee when I'm drinking my coffee. Another subject for another day, but let's just say the coffee, the Folgers wasn't quite as good. Not that I'm like a coffee snob, but it wasn't quite as good as like, I don't know, the Javalia or whatever kind of coffee that happens to be on sale, that's good coffee, that has meets the minimum requirements for me. Let's just say my minimum requirements are typically higher than Folgers. So, like those types of things can be a factor when you're on vacation. So just keep in mind that you don't have the home field situation. Similar to that, the second thing to keep in mind is obstacles to running on vacation is the routine right out the window. Again, it could be simple things like your dietary routine, your bathroom routine, just the normal routine flow of life. But it could be any number of other, just like there is no routine on vacation, right? Like, let's not kid ourselves. Whatever semblance of routine that we try to have at home in our daily lives, in our normal lives, on vacation, there's not that. So, that might mean that you're running at different times a day. Maybe you're typically an afternoon runner, but if you want to run on vacation, you have to run in the morning. Maybe, vice versa, maybe evenings, maybe, who knows? But whatever your normal routine is, and if you're like me and it's well documented how much I love my routine, boy, that's sometimes the hardest part of going on vacation is letting go of the fact that there is no routine anymore. And that hurts me on the running front, hurts me on lots of fronts, to be quite frank. But if you can accept that, which I'm still working on doing, but if you can accept that, that can kind of make things a little bit easier because you just kind of, there's not going to be a routine, so you don't lean into it. You just do what you got to do. Third obstacle to navigate on vacation. Again, kind of touched on this a little bit over. There's a lot of through areas with today's topic, but what you're going to eat also a little bit different, and this certainly depends on where you're staying. But if you're like me and you're pretty used to like making your own meals most of the time, cooking at home, depending on where you're staying, you might not have a stove. You might not have an oven. You might not have an air fryer or a Instapot or whatever your go-to cooking utensils happen to be. You might not even have a microwave. You might not have any opportunity to cook. So your diet's going to be a little bit different. And in some part, it should be, right? You're on vacation. Don't be afraid to indulge a little bit. Have a dessert. Have an extra cocktail. Like what? It's okay. It's okay. But just keep in mind that could impact your running. It could impact your sleep. It could impact your bathroom routine. Like all of the things that can be impacted when your diet is a little bit off. It's a little bit off. So just focus on or recognize the fact that your dietary pattern is going to be a little bit different, and that may change some of the things you need to keep in mind during your run. It may also change the need to fuel. You might need to fuel a little bit more because you're not eating the normal thing. Like lots of things to consider about when it comes to what are you going to eat and how you're going to then feel during your runs. Another thing to think about, another obstacle in place is that you might not be as familiar with the area, right? You think about, again, kind of home field advantage. When you're at home, if you're used to running outside, whether you're just in your neighborhood, whether it's downtown, the local trails, like whatever it is, you kind of know where you are all the time, or at least have a general idea, right? Like you drop me off any of the places that I semi-typically run in town here, and I can have a pretty decent idea of like, all right, well, from here to here, it's about 1.5 miles, and it might be 1.75 miles, or it might be 1 mile and 1/10, but like, I've got an idea, right? And so when I'm out there, like, at least for me, I'm not a real big plan out my route kind of guy. I'm going to run. I know I want to get 15 miles in this weekend, so I'm going to go for a bit, and then I'm going to keep an eye on my watch, and when I get to, 7 miles, 8 miles, 9 miles, I'm going to make sure I'm planning the turns and the routes and things like that accordingly. Then I'll be back into my neighborhood, hopefully around mile 14, because it's a little over a mile from the front of my neighborhood to my house. So, you do the math, I'm getting there to 15. Sometimes I'm a little over, sometimes I'm a little under, but I'm not very often way outside of the bounds. When you go running in a new part of town, in a new town, maybe a new state, maybe a new country, you don't always know where you are. You don't know the distances, so you might end up running an extra 5, 8, 10 miles than planned, or maybe calling for an Uber because you don't want to run an extra 5, 8, 10 miles. I don't know. But you got those types of things. Similarly, again, some of the things that you might overlook, if I'm running through town locally here, I know where I can refill a water bottle when I need to. I know even where the better water fountains are. Like the high quality, going to be cold, going to be filtered. Like I know where those ones are. I know where the hose spigots are in case I just need to kind of douse my head, or in a pinch I can fill up my bottle out of a hose. I'm not too proud, but like I know where those things are. I know where the bathrooms are that are available for use at 4 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning. I know where the restaurants are, so like the McDonald's or the places like that where I can sneak in and use the bathroom if I need to, or the public restaurant. Like, I know all those things. When I'm not around town, not so familiar. So, you just kind of have to make sure you're planning on not knowing where you are and planning accordingly, making sure you've got plenty of fluids. And maybe making sure you refill when you get past a good water fountain, as opposed to waiting until you're empty. Going to the bathroom when you don't necessarily need to, but maybe you could, like, just making sure you're aware of those things. Maybe getting back to where you're staying a little bit early so that your miles don't shoot through the roof, and maybe just running a couple laps around the parking lot or around the block or whatever. Also, there's a whole safety factor. You might not know what part of town to not run in versus where you're safe to, that you do know those types of things at home, which leads into the last obstacle. I guess I kind of blurred that together not on purpose, but, vacation running, you got to make sure you're safe. So knowing where you're going, being willing to maybe jump off the road if there's, or changing your route if there's no sidewalks and now you're on a busier road without sidewalks. Is that something you're comfortable with? There's again, things you're familiar with at home. Do not run on this road because it's a busy street and it's dark and it's hard to be seen. But you can get somewhere in the middle of your run, and when you're running while you're on vacation, all of a sudden, like, oh snap, the sidewalk just ends. And I'm not quite ready to turn around yet. Or maybe I am. I'm going to run some laps back and forth. Like, keep safety. I mean, safety is obviously always a priority, at least hopefully always a priority when you're out for a run. But on vacation, like, pretty sure that's about the worst way to end a vacation, is to have some type of safety issue, hit by a car, some type of incident with a person. Like you don't want those things anytime. Pretty sure you really don't want those things on vacation. So make sure you're being smart, being safe. Maybe you don't normally take a flashlight, but maybe you should take your headlamp, things like that. Just keep safety. Again, safety always should be a priority, but especially on vacation, make sure you're safe. Make sure you're safe out there. Last but not least, and I know I said 5, but this one kind of, again, blurs all the lines here, but sometimes you just have to go with the flow. Your routine's out of whack. There is no home field advantage. Your eating's a little bit off track. Your distances, you probably don't know them. Maybe don't go with the flow when it comes to sacrificing safety. Always keep safety, on point. But everything else, you kind of just have to go with the flow. Do what you can. Do the best you can. But remember, this isn't a runcation. This vacation isn't all about getting all the miles in. If it is, then get your miles in. But if it's not, enjoy time with your family. Enjoy sightseeing. Enjoy the things that is maybe the number one priority of the vacation. And don't stress if your miles for the week were a third of what they normally are. Half of what they normally are. 0 of what they normally are. Even though you intended to run, right? It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. So if you still have a vacation going on this summer or into the fall or whenever down the road, and you want running to be a part of it, some things to keep in mind to try to, as successfully as possible, run while you're on vacation. No home field advantage. Probably not much of a routine. Diet's going to be out of whack. You may not always know where you are, but definitely make sure that safety is a priority. And then just have fun. Lean into it. Enjoy it. Enjoy the different sites. Enjoy the different locations. Maybe some hills that you're not used to. But have a good time out there. Have a good time out there. So that is that for today. Hope that was helpful. Hope it made a little bit of sense. Hope you have a great vacation if you still have vacations planned this year. What did I miss? What do you do? What obstacles do you have to overcome? I just said doo-doo, and I didn't even recognize it. What obstacles do you have to overcome when you're on vacation? Let me know at DizRuns on Twitter, at DizRuns on Instagram. You can also send an email to dizruns@gmail.com. You can also head to the bottom of the show notes for today, dizruns.com/963. Leave some comments there. We've been getting a few more comments lately. Suzanne, thank you. Rob, thank you. Not that you have to, don't feel obligated, but I appreciate it. You can also, if you're listening to this on the YouTubes, leave a comment there. Hey, whatever. We're all over the places, but always love to hear from you. What do you think about today? What's your biggest thing that gets in your way when you're running on vacation? Whatever it's about, let me know. And I guess that's about it. One last shout out for Be Ready on Race Day. If you haven't gotten a copy yet, get yourself one if you think it might be helpful. And I'm admittedly biased, but I think it might be helpful. BeReadyOnRaceDay.com is the website. You can also get it on Amazon. One click it. It'll be there in a couple of days. If you order it straight from me, I'll sign it for you, but it might take a little bit longer because, I don't have the deals with the post office that Amazon does. So, if you need it tomorrow, you might better order it from Amazon. If you need it in a couple weeks and you want it signed, I'll hook you up. But either way, BeReadyOnRaceDay.com or on Amazon. Just search for Be Ready on Race Day. And with that, hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, hit that share button. And until next time, y'all, be well. Take good care. Thanks again for listening. And we'll talk soon, all right? See you.